to provide examples for the ratio and proportion examples. Okay, so this time I'm gonna introduce an example that undergoes the concept of partitive proportionality. So as we can recall back, we have direct proportionality, the indirect proportionality, partitive proportionality. Okay, so let's review for a moment, the basic concepts of ratio and proportion. Okay, so when we ratio something, so we need to determine, okay, a certain sample out of the total population. For example, a ratio of 5 girls over the, let's say, 20 people. No? Things like that. That's also a ratio of boys out from the total population. And we can also determine the ratio according to the gender, okay, how many girls and boys, no, in the particular total population. Okay? For example, if there is 3 boys, no, get the point, no, and then okay, and then there are 4 boys, okay, things like that. Okay, so the ratio will be 3:4. There are 3 boys out of 4 girls, like that, no? Okay, if these 3 boys, okay, let's say if they can perform a job, in 20 hours, so what hours that the 4 boys can perform? Things like that. So you're gonna take the ratio of this fraction. Okay, so that's the ratio, no? We divide. Okay, things like that. Okay, now if you say proportion, that would mean you have a set of fraction. The left is 3/5 is equal to 4/6. So we need to say you need to make these fractions equal. No? That's why we have the symbol equal in the left side and in the right side, meaning they are proportion with each other. We make them equivalent because of the symbol equal. So everything or every moment, if there is equality sign, that is to proportion. Okay, the left and the right. So we need to say each has similar or equivalent answer. No answers, no things like that. Then the technique in this ratio and proportion, not only in ratio and proportion, in all types of mathematical operations, okay, is that what you do in the left, you also do in the right. For example, if you are subtracting in the left, you're also subtracting in the right. If you are adding in the left, you're also adding in the right. If you are dividing in the left, you're also dividing in the right. If you are multiplying in the left, you're also multiplying in the right. And that is the secret in mathematical operations. The moment you will do that, you can do anything as long as you are doing the same thing, no? In each side. Another, we need to group also like terms over the unlike terms, and we need to manipulate first the like terms and the similar terms. So these are the basics in math. Okay, things like that, and the rest will be just like additional, like things like we need to ponder of, as long as we need to understand these basic operations. Okay, things like this. These basic mathematical operations are addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So these are called linear operations. Linear operations. Okay, get the point. And this, let us say, logarithm, like that, no? Natural logarithm, like that. What else? We need to have this exponential, with small letter e. You get the point, no? The Euler number, like that, no? So these are called nonlinear operation. Okay, get the point, nonlinear operation. For example, the integral of something, the integral and the differential of something, no? We need to say, for example, the dy dx of a something, the y prime of a something, okay? The integral of blah, 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 so on so. So these are called nonlinear operations, no? Is the point? But the linear operations are only for mathematical operations. Nonlinear operations are so many. It depends on the criterion. If it does not belong to linear operations, all of them are called nonlinear operations. Okay? As long as a math operation is not limited only to radical or square root or let us say exponential, natural logarithm, integral, differential. So there are also another nonlinear operations that I did not discuss to you, but it still belong to this category. But for now, let's focus to linear operations, the basic four mathematical operations that we need to use in our ratio and proportion. Okay? Things like that. Now, okay, so the three types are the direct proportion, no? Direct proportion. Okay, this is also called as the dependent proportionality. Okay, dependent proportionality. Okay, like that. And this is equation number 1. So this is denoted in the equation K is alpha or directly proportional to, let us say, variable S. Okay, things like that. Okay, and then this is directly proportional. Now, if I say the second category is indirect proportion, okay, and then this is called the independent proportionality. Independent proportionality. Okay, get the point. Okay, hope so. Okay, now the expression will be K is inversely proportional to 1 over S. Okay, the third category, which is not official declared in the textbook, but I also include this because I think this is the complex, no, the most intricate of these three proportionalities that most of the students will struggle because it undergoes several ratios like this, 3:4:7, like that, This is our example problem. Okay, this is partitive proportionality. This is in terms of the partition, the partition component to component proportionality. Okay, so partitive proportion or proportionality. The point, these are proportionality. These are multiple of ratio and proportion combined. Okay, for example, K is to L, is to M, is to N. Get the point? Or you can say also K directly proportional to L, inversely proportional to M, directly proportional to N. So as long as it's a multiple of ratio and proportion of a something, that would be partitive proportionality. So your technique, your hint here is that there's so many like this, ratio. Okay, you get the point? Any questions so far? So these are our three types of proportionality. Okay. And it's always said ratio and proportion because every time you proportion, you always have the ratio in it, in the left and in the right, and you make it equal. This is proportion. Okay, so it's expected that the left side will be equal to the right side. The moment it is not equal, then you don't have a correct proportion. Okay, meaning in this concept, we need to balance, Okay, we need to balance to establish equilibrium. Okay, so the equilibrium state here will be the equality of the two, no? The right and the left. Just like chemistry, we need to balance the chemical equation in order to achieve the state of dynamic equilibrium. It's just like also the principle. So when we balance, it's all throughout linearly equal. So if we try to navigate our concept in a lever concept, you know what is lever? Lever ba siya, guys? I'm not a mechanical engineer, but the five types of simple machines, right? We have the lever, the wheel and axle, the pulley, the wedge, and I think it's gonna be, sorry for the other one, no? Okay, I forgot. Fulcrum. Am I correct? Okay, let's say we will consider the seesaw. No? Seesaw like that, no? So this is in the process of having the fulcrum in the center, or ganon. Okay, and then this also the left and the right. So this is child A and this is child B. So establish the balance, then the A will be equal to B. So this is also saying A is proportion to B, meaning there's balance in it. The more we have the balance, so we have the probability that we have an equivalent value from the left side and the right side. So whether that equation, that's equation actually, no? It's that expression. Equation because we have symbol at a center, okay? In equation so far, we make them equal. So the strategy is we need to balance both of them so that we can establish equilibrium. So this is really the concept of ratio and proportion. Now, okay, we go out of problem, right? Okay. Oh, by the way, I need to explain also something, okay? For example, okay, direct proportional. So usually, so if we can interpret, for example, if there is a tabulation set of values like that, no, for example, this is K and this is S and you have this value like that, no? Tabulation form, right? And if K is 4 and S is 12, like that, no? If 5 is K is 5 is something like that, no? Okay, this is 13. If this is 6, this is 14. If it's 7, this is 15. So you will establish pattern. Okay, this is 16. So meaning to say, if you add 1, it will become 5. If you add 1, it will become 6. If you add 1, it will become 13. So you are doing the proper proportioning in each column. Okay, so the moment you will graph this in your x and y axis, you will produce a straight line graph. So this will always sometimes come up in an examination by direct questioning. What will be the graph produced in a direct proportionality concept or in a direct proportionality equation? So the choices will be, for example, only A, curve, okay, B, zigzag, okay, C, a straight line, D, circle. Example only, no? So this is to test the basic concept, no? The answer would be straight line. Again, for direct proportion. Okay, direct proportion and okay, dependent proportionality. Now, okay, for the inversely proportional or inversely proportional or the indirect proportionality or the independent proportionality. Again, independent, inversely, and indirect would mean have the same meaning. Direct, okay, direct proportionality, dependent are the same in meaning. Okay, get the point. Now, in our inversely proportional or indirect proportionality or independent proportionality. So if we graph that in our x and y axis, if you consider coordinate geometry here, okay, this is x and this is y, you will produce a graph like a curve graph generally. So it depends on the curve where the pattern really moves through. If it's going up, it's going down, as long as you produce a graphical representation that seemingly a curve. You get the point? Okay. a curvature or a curve. You get the point? So that's a general concept already. We don't need to prove this because that is already proven to be valid. So that's why this is called an objective concept, because we don't need really to prove this every time. You get the point? Because this was really confirmed long time ago that every time we will have the set of values in our tabulation, it will really produce these specific graphs. So that's why we don't need to validate it already. We don't need to keep on validating everything. The concept, no? Okay, the basic concept, no? Get the point? Any questions so far? Okay. Now we go to the sample problem. For example, if I have also another, there's so many things in my mind kasi guys, and I cannot explain it in one setting. You get the point? No. So I need also to discuss the interconnectivity of ideas in my brain cells. Okay? You get the point? So for example, if I have, okay, class. For example, if I have, let's say, there are three girls and there will be four boys, like that, no? And then, okay, and then you will say, how many boys will enter that will try to join the math club? Wow. Di ba? So let's say this is the how many people or how many boys will join the math club. If there are 20 girls will join the math club. Guys, in the ratio and proportion, guys, you'll never use another category. For example, how many boys will join the math club? Okay. If there are four girls will join the math club. The moment you will mention another activity, that is not a coverage of ratio and proportion. Take note to this. When you try to ratio and proportion, you have the same argument every time. You get the point? Things like that. If you're talking about apples, it's always apples in relation to another fruit, like that, no? Okay, but you will never mention so many things, no? You need to be consistent of your argument. No? If I will say math club, you'll always ask certain, question related to math club so that it will agree, no? You get the point. I will never say, how many girls will join to the science club? Of course, there are 20 girls. Okay. And then I cannot question also how many boys will join to the science club. In fact, the boys you are saying they are joining the math club. How can they join the science club? They are joining already the math club. So it doesn't make sense. You get the point? So we need to establish one argument only, no? Or one set of activity or an event or topic or whatever, no? Or whatever. We can understand this in our journey in solving a lot of problems with regards to ratio and proportion. Okay, so in this particular problem, no? Okay, so actually we can solve this in a lot of approaches in mathematics. I think by just looking that, we can use three mathematical operations or methodologies and strategies how to solve this, meaning how to solve the value of x. Since our topic is ratio and proportion, we need to adopt the strategy related to ratio and proportion. We don't need to use other categories, no, in how to solve the x here. But in actual examination, all you have to do is to, employ or use the different type of methodologies or techniques as long as you can get the value of x. No? Okay, the benefit of this discussion, we must focus only to the methodology that related to ratio and proportion. I will not be able to explain other methodologies related to, fraction or other thing. Actually, ratio is also a fraction, or other methods of, determining the values of x or y or whatever, no? Okay, so but I need to roughly explain also a little bit, okay? For example, okay, so let's try to connect a little bit in our reflective learning to other methods, not really ratio and proportion. Now, the moment you will look at this kind of equation, this is really talking about rational equation. No? So when we say rational equation, there's the word ratio here, right? It's expected to have numerator and denominator when we say ratio by common sense. So what's the stars here, or let us say the actors and the actresses involved here will be the numerator and the denominator. So what that comes in our mind first if we talk about ratio. Okay, then rational equation. You get the point? So meaning to say, equation is a noun, rational is an adjective or a description describing the noun. Okay, that's why it says rational equation. So that is an equation specifically focuses on ratios or division. You know, the moment you have like this, okay? Things like that's a rational equation. Now, what signifies here that this is an equation? By just visually inspect that there is a symbol sign of equality. So that is, justifying that that is an equation. Since this is a ratio of division, that's why rational equation. By just visually inspecting it, we can name it properly and we can identify it, appropriately. You get the point? Or things like that. Okay. So if we try to undergo the topic of rational equation, so the best technique to solve for x is, the cross multiplication. Okay, remember this. Okay, the cross multiplication. Now, what is the limitation of cross multiplication? If and only if the left side will be two or more terms, we cannot do the cross multiplication directly unless we will do the mathematical operation first in the left side. Okay, and then in the right side, if that is also two or more terms, okay, in terms of a fractional appearance, right, rational expression, okay, get the point, or form, obviously, right? Then you cannot also cross multiply directly. So the sure ball, sure ball. Okay, the clear explanation here, if you use cross multiplication, okay, one ratio in the left and other ratio in the right, or one fraction in the left and one fraction in the right, that is automatically you can do the cross multiplication. Okay, straightforward method of cross multiplication. But the moment there's a lot of entities here or a lot of expressions or whatever reflection here, you cannot do the cross multiplication. But I'm not saying you cannot do entirely. Maybe you can do after a series of steps. Okay, but you cannot do directly the cross multiplication. Okay, you get the point? That's the restriction. Number two, we can do here the butterfly method. The butterfly method is not very popular, I think most probably in Asian countries, This is most popular in European countries, in America. Okay, their universities and schools are adopting this butterfly method instead of getting the GCF when you try to add like that, when you try to add fractions or whatsoever. You get the point? Get the point? Okay, butterfly method. Okay, get the point? But in the butterfly method, mga palangga, let's check also, because usually it can be applied if there is, here, sign, positive, negative, like that. Okay? Okay, you get the point? Okay, but let's try also if the butterfly method can be adapted if there's an equality sign. Get the point? Okay, you get the point. And then number three, we have what you do in the left, you also do in the right. So this is referring to addition, okay, addition identity, Okay, get the point. Addition identity property, subtraction identity property, multiplication identity property, and multiplication identity property. So these are the identities that you're gonna do. For example, if I will say 2 plus x is equals to 3, okay? So I'm gonna read off, I'm gonna avoid this 2. So therefore, I'm gonna subtract this 2, -2, and you also do the -2 here. So this is, okay, this is subtraction identity property. This is the language meaning, because what we are doing in math actually, we are doing of methods most of the times. I think 80% up. We are not concerned of the categorization and the language uh, definition or type or whatsoever. So I would suggest that the moment we have this method, we need also to understand the language of what method we are doing. There will be a complete package of our understanding the method and the equivalent name of that. You get the point? Things it would be more for me. It would be more smooth. Okay, you get the point, or smoother, because you can add er. No, if you have comparative. Sorry. Okay, got the point. Oh. Okay, so things like that, no? And then if you try also to divide in the left, you also divide in the right. This is also division identity property. You get the point? Things like that. So we have to say, in every method that we're gonna use in math, there is equivalent name for that of what we are doing. It's just that we are not practicing it because we are focused on the method on how to do it. Am I correct or not? So it's not all the time we keep on remembering what is a radicand. Okay, you get the point. Okay, but we usually understand that a radicand are those numbers or variables inside the radical. You get the point. But we are not always saying it every time. You get the point. But we categorize them also appropriately. But some are not really focusing on that. Some will be average. Some will be particular like that. Now it depends on the type of a student, a teacher, or a professional. Sorry to say, I'm very particular with that. Okay, things like that. I'm very particular with the naming, the category, the type, the statement, no. For example, if I will say a concept, I will really say to which law that it belongs. I will never say how to compute this one directly. If I will say a language like that in the board. So what comes first in my mind, for example, that is a concept, that a teacher discussed. So my mind will push me directly, what concept is that? Instead of saying, how to solve that? You get the point? So there's no, there's I don't know how to say this. There's a difference, no, with the majority of the students, because most of the students will be interested on how to solve that. But for me, why is that? What is the meaning for that? Like, what is the concept all about? For what purpose? What relevance? What we are why we are doing that? You get the point? So I will always ask the background of it, not the application. You get the point? So that I can easily understand what's going on in that particular problem if I have a complete idea of the concepts, the backbone of it, no? Parang ganon. I'm really interested on the theorems first rather than the applicability or the application. So this is a type of a student I am when I was in high school going to college, no? Things like that. So, so I know also that different students are having different comfortability in understanding or different learning styles. Get the point? Okay. But for me, as a student, I will never go directly to the problem solving. I need to understand what's that all about. For example, if the topic is this, uh, multiplication. Like that. So what's really the purpose of multiplication? What are the operations used? I need to familiarize what are the operator, the mathematical operations to be used. What are the different types of multiplication properties, categories, and I need to understand each. What is a commutative property in multiplication? So I don't need really to go on how to solve that directly. And later on, I will navigate myself in how to do it, in the methods, in methodology. So this is how organized I am, no? When I was studying, when I studied, no? not too much in elementary, in a grade school level, but it sprouted when I was in high school. Okay, get the point? Going to college. Okay? Concerned ko sa mga backbone of the concept, no? For me kasi it can really be understood, this problem solving, if I have a complete understanding of the concepts, no? The basic concepts out of it, no? Parang ganun, okay? So I may not force you to do that also, okay? Because this has to take culture. You know what is culture? You've been practicing this, since you're a child, going through your youth, this kind of, preference of understanding or preference of understanding the lesson. If your preference of understanding the lesson is to go directly with the problem solving, so you will be always like that. When you go to second year, third year, fourth year in college, you will not be interested anymore. What is the definition of this? What's the types of this? The categories, because you are indoctrinated in that kind of approach of learning. You are concerned only to the mathematical operations or how it is being solved. You get the point? You are not concerned with the semantics, the meaning, the purpose, the objective, the different types, no? The definitions, the synonyms. What is the synonym of a radical? Get the point? Okay. What is the synonym of because it doesn't mean that if we teach math, we don't carry the law of parallelism in English also. Because the moment we have so many synonyms or vocabularies, it's an advantage. It's an edge. You get the point? Okay. So it sets a difference the moment we interpret and analyze the problems or questions, no? Okay, that's my experience. Okay, so I need to rely on the main point. So I really want to understand what's that all about before I solve. I think this is normal for all, no? But the moment the terms, the terminologies will change as we don't encounter them. So our interpretation will also vary. You get the point. For example, here, see the ratio of nickels, dimes, and quarters. Oh my gosh. Do we understand what is nickel? Do we understand what is dime? Do we understand what is quarters? So this is the first issue we need to find out. Because these terms are involved in the problem. The moment we understand this, so it will give us a hint to go through that direction in order for us to solve what is being asked in the problem. Rather than solving directly, and you don't know what is nickel, you don't know what is dime, you don't know what is quarter. So it looks like you are only doing the methodologies and the methods on how to do it. But you are not understand the total portfolio of what you are trying to solve. And here, after that also, in a jar is 3, 4 to 7. So in a jar, so we need to say this is a container and there are nickels, dimes, and quarters. So of course, these are objects. These are materials. These are non-living things. You get the point? Because it's placed inside a jar. You get the point? And then 3:4:7, respectively. And what is respectively all about in English? Okay, so there's an issue also with the grammar. You get the point? So when we say respectively, that would mean that the first appearance of 3 would mean the first enumeration in our first sentence. So this is the nickel, 3. Then consecutively, the 4 is for the dime. And then consecutively, 7 is for quarter. So we need to say this is consecutive and successive enumeration of a something. This is respectively. That is the, this is the pronoun. No, it's the adverb for that particular sense. No, because it ends in ly. That is adverb. You get the point now? Okay, things like that. Okay, so if you say respectively, consecutive, each value would follow. I will ask, what is nickel? Nickel is an element belong to transition elements in the periodic table, but that is another concept of a nickel here. So these nickels, dimes, and quarters are monetary units of money in America. Okay, get the point? So nickel, for example, in the Philippines, you have 1 Philippine peso is equal to, oh my gosh, no? Uh, how many centavos? Okay? Di ba? 100 cents, no? 100 centavos. Because 25 centavos, okay, then times 4, this will be, okay, tama ba? O 100 cents. Kana kasing cents, guys, okay, is the abbreviation of centavos. Okay? This is to make clear. Okay? Cents is the abbreviation of centavos. Okay? Cent without S is the abbreviation of centavo. Okay? This is not centimeter, ha? And this is not also century. You get the point? So, because if we try to abbreviate these words also, would be parallel also to cent. No? For example, 1 century. So if you try to abbreviate the century, you will cut off also the churi, the uri. You will put also cent. So it will become redundant also with the abbreviation of centavo. You get the point? Things like that. Okay, but this is in another context. Be careful also with abbreviation. You get the point? Centimeter also, the abbreviation is cm. Okay, this is actually the appropriate. It's not CI. Others will say centi, right? I always hear people doing, how many centi like that? Okay, professional people, but it's acceptable. They make it shortcut only that it means centimeter, but actually that is wrong. Okay, the abbreviation of centimeter is not centi. Okay, you get the point? Okay, it's cm. Okay, supposedly we say, how many cm is this? Like that. It's not centi. Okay? You get the point? But it's acceptable because it's very obvious that you cut off the other letters of the word centimeter. But I'm talking to the appropriate of abbreviating. Okay? I would mean the most appropriate of abbreviating the word. So that is not the correct, really. Okay? But it's acceptable. Okay? You get the point? I hope so you get what I mean. You get the point? Okay. So if we have 1 peso is equal to 100 cents or 100 centavos in the Philippines. Okay. Okay. 1 nickel. How many centavos in the America? Yun lang. Okay. 1 nickel, as I told you, these are monies in the America. Traditional monies, like a coins. You get the point? So they have a variety of coins. Okay, not the same with other countries that our coins are only one name. You get the point? Halala, only like that, no? But America so special. We have 3 terms: nickels, dimes, quarters, like that, centavos. So they are very articulate. They are articulating their, monetary values of the money's names. You get the point? No. In the Philippines also we have only centavos and pesos. We don't have also other names. I don't know with other countries, no? But this America is not too much worse, right? And they have also 4 seasons, right? Winter, summer, spring. So it's not also the same with other countries, the seasons, no? 4 gid lang seasons. But for other countries, only 2. So it looks like they're acting superpower every time in language, in power and everything, in technology or whatever, no? So they are dominant for something. I cannot understand also this one, huh? I'm just only relating. You get the point? Okay, things like that. Okay, now 1 nickel is equals to, okay, 5 centavos in America. You get the point? No. And then how many US dollars if we say 1 nickel? This is 0.05 US dollars. Okay, we need to memorize this completely. Okay, because This is universal mathematics. No? Sometimes, and then I don't know how to say this. No, because some problems also will have these approaches, no, using the traditional monetary fund of other countries also. Not only in America, in Europe or whatever. No, that's why sometimes we need to be extra careful also, especially in computing the economics, the financial economics, the interest, mga ano ba, no? Okay, the principal, you get the point, no? The rate, interest, the rate of interest, the interest rate, money, talking about money. Okay, things like that. Okay, now, dimes. Okay, one dime, how many centavos? Get the point, no? Okay, nako po. Okay, this is 10 centavos in America. Get the point? So, how much in US dollars? Okay, get the point. This is 0.10 US dollars. Okay? Maybe sa board exam, yung ani lang, no? Calculate the US dollars of a one dime. O nga. Because you don't understand what is dime. Yun lang. Because you lack of familiarity. You get the point. So it's not enough loudy or bright, whatever. You need also to be a wide reader, no? That he knows a lot of lessons like that, no? Not only configured to the four corners of your classroom. There must be knowledge outside from the backs. You get the point? Okay. Next, quarter. How many centavos in one quarter? So this thing will give you an idea of a quarter in the basic math. When you say quarter, that is 75%, no? Or that is equivalent to 1/4. What is the 1/4 of 100? It gives us an idea here. That is 25 centavos. Because that is quarter. This is an example only if you don't have an idea. But the word kasi is very obvious, no? Sometimes, you're gonna apply the law of parallelism even though you don't know. For example, what is the value of US dollars? What is the value of quarter of US dollars? And you have a basic knowledge that the quarter, it's 75%, it's 1/4. And you need to navigate that here. So, you know directly, even though you don't encounter. So this is critical thinking. If you don't know anything and you parallel your previous knowledge, no? You navigate your older or your previous or your past knowledge to the present knowledge in which you don't encounter. This is called critical thinking. You get the point? On the spot. Because you don't encounter. And you make an idea or a basis for your new learning. Because you don't encounter it. That's for the first time. But since you have an idea before, you're going to connect because you know what is a quarter, right? The only problem is you're going to relate this to US dollars. Okay? Therefore, 1/4 is 25 centavos because the 1/4 of 100 is 25. Okay? And the cents also, since this is expressed in decimal point, syaro po na itong utok, dili mo gana. So this is 0.25 US dollars. Get the point? Okay, so these are the equivalents of these nickels, dimes, and quarters. So why you explain that, Sir Sotero? Because it involves in our problem. Then I need to know. Get the point? So or else it will become a dummy, D-O-N-N-Y. You keep on solving so severely and tremendously, but you don't understand what's really reflected in each nouns or whatever, each noun or whatever in the problem. So for me, it's a tragedy. You keep on solving things in which you don't understand some of the words there, right? So it's not a complete package learning. You get the point? Need you a packet, total package? Yes, need, no? Because if you have a total package learning, meaning to say you are so in the maximum level. You get the point? Alangan mo po. The more, the merrier. The more, the better. Charot. Okay? Things like that. Okay. Now, we can solve it by cross multiplication. Okay? And we can solve this also by doing the rule. No? Katong, what you do in the right, you do in the left. Ang technique mo, ganun siya, guys. If you see division, The partner of division is multiplication. So you're gonna multiply this to a something, no? Therefore, you're gonna multiply this by 20 to get rid of the denominator because your purpose is to solve for the value of x. You will go directly to a variable and clear out those stuffs there. That is your first intention in solving the value of x, y. That is the first purpose. You're gonna go there and you need to eliminate the nuisance candidates in that particular portion. And the best thing to that is you're gonna multiply, add, or whatever. But in this case, this is division. And the Java partner of division is multiplication. That's why I'm gonna multiply this both sides with 20. Okay, here also 20. Okay, now perform the indicated operation. So 20 times 3, 60. Okay. And this 20 is understood to be 1. Okay, you don't need to say 20 times 4 because 20 is a numerator and 4 is a denominator. So meaning to say they are not congruent, meaning they are not similar orientation. They are not in the similar place. They are not in the similar position. So you cannot multiply that. You get the point. Okay, now this is over 1. Let's make this clear with emphasis, right? Okay, this is denominator. Okay, meaning to say the denominator multiplied by the denominator. The numerator multiplied by the numerator. That's it. Okay, so 1 times 4, and that is 4. Carry the equality sign in the center. All you have to do is to copy, right? Okay, x times 20 is 20x. Actually, this is 20 dot x or 20 times x or 20 parentheses times x. So in this case, you don't need to incorporate the symbol because it means the same thing due to the commutative property in multiplication. That's the reason. Okay? Because in multiplication, there is what we call associative, distributive, and commutative property. In commutative property, for example, if I will say x times y, it will become xy directly. Eliminate the mathematical operation or the tab or the parentheses or the x means multiplication in elementary, right? Okay, you will just put beside together because that is commutative property. And you can exchange the orientation, the positioning. You can also say y times x. It doesn't matter anymore in multiplication. You get the point? And that's very clear, Put that in our brain cells. Okay, so we need to say this one also is x20. Okay, or 20x. Okay, now 20 times 1, and that is 20. And now, okay, so you're gonna read off this 20 so that what will remain is the x. Cancel the 20. Oh, you get the point. So therefore, you can say you can solve for the value of x now here. No, you get the point. Okay, in this case. Okay, so how can you solve for the value of x here? And that's the time you're gonna divide 60 over 4. So 60 divided by 4. Okay, 1, 4, 20. So this is 15. This is 15 is equal to, okay, then this is x over 20, right? Okay, so x is equals to 15. And then you will say that 3 over 4 is equal to x over 20. And your x is already 15. So 15 over 20. So we need to say 3/4 is equal to 15 over 20. What does it mean? Okay, if you multiply 3 by 5, it will be equal to 15 in the right. If you multiply 4 by 5 in the denominator, it will become 20. That's why 15 over 20. Or the reverse holds true. If you divide 15 by 5, it will become 3. If you divide 20 by 5, it will become 4. So they are proportion with each other. That's why ratio and proportion. You get the point? So the caption, the title really matches after we solve. We go now to the direction, no? Okay. Okay, so that is our objective. We need to proportion. Okay, you get the point? In order to proportion it, we need to solve. We need to have methodologies. We need to have steps. Or else we cannot solve for the value of the required x if we don't have steps how to do it. But our objective is to proportion it, that the left fraction or ratio will be equal to the right ratio. Okay? So that is our main objective. To answer our objective, we need to do mathematical application. See? This is only to prove the concept, the purpose of problem of the equation, calculations. Diba? Ang first, ang iya yung concept, no? Iya yung objective, yung meaning. You get the point? Okay? Things like that. Kung sa thesis pa ni, ang computation, ito rin siya na body sa atong research o sa atong thesis, ang kanima calculation. But the problem statement will be on the top, the objective, the introduction. So these are only in the fourth part of our feasibility study. Kanina mga computation, calculation. You get the point? So hindi siya star player ba? You get the point? Okay? Things like that. Because the purpose in it is to back up, no, our scientific theories, our problem statement to be solved. Then we need to do these calculations, no? You get the point? Okay, so that is ratio and proportion. Now, going back to this problem now, okay? Because I explained a lot before solving this problem, no? In order to give us an idea what's going on here, chart, okay? Okay, things like that now. This is partitive proportionality because 3 is to 4 is to 7. Now, we need to write now here the nickel, nickel. You get the point? Okay, nickel. So the first letter is N. So I need to denote that with capital N. Dimes. Okay. The first letter is capital D, so I have to put D. Quarters. The first letter is Q. That's why I have to put capital Q. So NDQ. You get the point now? NDQ. Now, I have to write the table. You get the point now? Okay, table. So we have here the nickel. Okay, the nickel. Okay, get the point, no? Nickels, and have here the dimes. Okay, the quarters. Okay, you get the point like that. Now, since this is partitive proportionality, you get the point. So, what is the requirement? ADM. So, muna tong technique sa partitive proportionality. Memorize the ADM only, ha? This is addition, division, multiplication. Di jud na siya mausap until we die. Addition, division, multiplication. I'm gonna show why it became ADM. Okay. Now, addition. Okay. So this is set aside also. This is also another. This is graphical representation of solving. This is direct formula solving. So I feed you all types of strategies in this problem. We have 3 alternatives on how to do this. Di pa mo anak? 3 strategies I will teach you. First strategy, okay, ADM, addition, division, and multiplication. So the first thing to do is to add this, no? 3 plus 4 plus 7, and that is 12. 12? No, 14. Charot. 14. Total 14. Now, next is division. Get the point, no? Okay. Division. Okay, get the point, no? So, you need also to know the total quantity, no? For example, if there are, so I failed to have the total quantity here, no? I will say, okay? Okay. How many of them are nickels if there are, for example, no? Because my brain also steered. What's steered? Meaning it's it's sharpening because there's no total money inside a jar and it's impossible to compute. Sorry po. So let's have an example. How many of them are nickels if there are 112 inside the jar? There are 112 of these mentioned in the jar. If there are 112 money, in the jar. Okay, guys, by the way, guys, ang kanang money, guys, that is an uncountable noun, ha? You don't need to put monies like this, no? Money regular siya. You get the point? So you don't need to change y and add es because money is unaccountable noun. Just like information, no, there's no informations. Just like equipment, there's no equipments. So I hope you understand what it means sa English, no? Unaccountable noun, you don't need to add s. Okay? The singular and the plural, okay, would have the same spelling. Okay? But it's the quantity can recognize that it would mean plural because I mentioned 112. So it's more than one. So that means plural, but still money. Okay, that akong gi-explain kini araba ko. Them are nickels, and if there are 112 money in the jar, kinarabay are. So sa to pa, kasi plural ko ipares ni diri ari chart. Okay, subject verb agreement ka. Okay, so 3 plus 4 plus 7 is equals to 14. Okay, now we have 112 ang iyang total nga mga money ever. Second thing, di ba, division. So, i-divide mo si 112 o si 14. Okay, pila man siya. 112 divided by 14. Nakakaloka. Kung mo try tag 7, pila man siya. Charot. Okay, kuan lang siya, no? Mga 98 sa itong padakan. So, mo try tag 8. Okay, 32. Oh, yes, 8. This is 112. So, this is 8. Diba? See, you add, you divide. Okay, divide na. Then next, multiplication. Okay, so you need to multiply because you have the ratio 3 is to 4 is to 7. And this is the nickel, capital N, this is the capital D, and this is the Q. Since the problem is asking for nickel, and nickel is 3, then multiply here. So therefore, 3 times 8, so there are 24 nickels. So this is the first strategy. Another strategy or method 2, okay? The method 2 also, it's still ADM technique, okay? But, okay, how to do it? Add again, 3 plus 4 plus 7, that is 14. Now, division. Division. Since you know already that the dime here is 3, right? So, division, you will say 3 out of 14, which is the total division. Then, multiply that with 112. So it would have the same answer, 24. So let's try it, no? Of course. So 112 times 3, 6, 3, 336, okay? Okay, the point, no? So imo ni siyang i-3 over 14, okay? Pagka humanihan na, i-multiply din na mo siya. The point, no? Yung ratio. Sige, calculator mga palaging. Okay? Hindi ko makan fraction mabuti. Okay? Di ba 3 divided by 4? Okay? Imo siyang i-ratio, biga, no? Okay. Okay. Nakuha ninyo, guys? Okay, kay 24 man ang yan nickels. Okay? So, kano siya ang buhaton? Kay 3 divided by 14. Okay? 3 man siya out of 14. Na may total na 112. Diba? Okay? See? It's 24. Same answer here. So this is the second method. ADM pa rin. Okay? Now, the third method is through tabulation na. Okay? Get the point? So if you try to get the dime in the first, the same story, no? Since you divide man siya sa 112 divided by 14. Sumara na ka. Okay? 8 times 3, 24. 8 times 4, 32. 7 times, 8 times 7, 56. No? So you will multiply each with 8. 3 times 8, 24. 4 times 8, 32. 7 times 8, 56. So, then, 32, 24 plus 32 plus 56, it will resolve, it will have the same answer of 112. No? To check. Plus 32 plus 56, 112, perfect. Usbo na po ni siya. How many of them are dimes? We need to say 32. 8 times 4. Okay. Okay, yakari siya. Ano po din mo siya sa dimes. Ang dimes kay 4 man. So 4 over 14 times 112. So it depends on you, no? On how to attack this problem. But it's very, kasi guys, it's very healthy if you have so many alternatives on how to do it. You get the point? Okay? Or you can stick to one method. It depends on you, but it would be like limited, no? If you have only one technique. So it's not maximum. Dapat pulido. You get the point? Okay, thanks. Okay, here. We have here nickels, dimes, and quarter. So we need to tabulate this also. No? And we need to have the fourth column as total. Total. Okay. Now here. Okay, put this one. So nickel. Nickel is 3, diba? 3. And you don't know. So over N. Dimes. 4. So you don't know the value of dime over D. So anong fraction mo na siya sa tero? Ratio gani. You get the point? We're talking of ratio, so division or fraction. Quarter. Okay, this is 7. 7 over Q. But sa total, okay, get the point? No, So sa total, so magkuha na ng total karon. Kato siya, total ni quantity. 3 plus 4 plus 7. Di ba? 14. So over 112. So in this tabulation, it's very easy also to detect. You're just only trying to get the ratio of 14 over 1 over 12. So you need to think of a number that when you need to multiply, ano multiply man siya pero okay, division man gud ni. Ato gina siyang sabton, makakita gani tag division ang atong multiply ang ibiga-biga ha. Kung makakita tag multiply din sa ano lang nato, no? Okay? Kung makakita ka ang form niya division, ang atong buhaton multiplyan. Kung makakita gani tag multiply atong division, atong i-divide. Kanin divide man ni. So you're looking for a number that when you multiply, okay, get the point, no? It is exact value. Get the point? Saman. Or you can also reduce this into its lowest form, no, by getting the greatest common factor of the two. Okay, so saman. Nakakaloka. Okay, so what you will multiply so that this 14 will be equal to 112. So na naman tayo idea before sa itong first method, no? O sa second method. So times 8. 14 times 8 kasi is 112. Okay, now, what you do in the total is you multiply by 8, right? You also multiply this nickel, this dime, this quarter with 8, and that is already the answer. You don't need to solve biga-biga na. After you try to multiply what will be equal to the total. So this is a little bit easier. You get the point? Because your step on here is to divide it and multiply directly 1 by 1. You get the point? Okay, thanks. But if you don't want also that, you can also stick with the nickel. Nickel, 3 over N is in ratio or equal to 14 over 112. Solve for the value of N. O, karon, nawa. Division. O, diba? O, division siya ha, tanawa. So what will be the thing you gonna multiply or divide so that we gonna eradicate or we're gonna remove 3? Because 3 would confuse the letter N. we are trying to solve the N. We need to eliminate something that closest to the N. It's only the 3, right? Oh. What do you multiply or divide here? Okay, here. Here is division. You get the point? So we need to say you need to multiply of a something. Okay. What something is that? To cancel the 3. And that is 1 over 3. So multiply both sides with 1 over 3. Ganun. Charoy. Okay. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times n is 3n. Okay. 14 times 1 is 14. Ganun. 112 times 3 is, kung saan siya biga? 336. Then, solve for the value of n. Kani po siya guys, no, pwede po din siya na yung mga method po na mabiga-biga kung kagad. Tapos ito, for example, think nga 3 over 3n. I hope it will be clicking ha, because on the spot na nila puso yan. Kinamay ko sa kong utok, so hey, ito ibalitok. Okay, on the spot. Okay, but I hope this will be correct also. Okay, 14. Ni-defeat ko sa original nga nga concept sa math. Kaya nataraw ko nga ratio mabugda. Ni-reflect sa akong braces. If what you do also in the first, you will also do in the right. So pwede mo sa mo balihon. Tanawa ha. Okay, get the point. Oo. So this will become, try na ni ha. Okay, balihon nila ako. Kaya nga naman good guys. Kung di nila ko siya balihon, magubos ng bukog cross multiplication. 3n times 14, para to avoid lang that ba, no? Kaya natong topic ratio, magkatuman na mo multiply sa kilid o biga, di ba? Di ko ma-apply of cross multiplication. Okay, things like that. So, akong buhaton, I need to invert this whole thing here. Sabi na ako, 3n over 3. Akong gi-invert ni. This equals to 336 over 14. Are you sure, Sotero, it will yield the same answer? You are already inverting that. I don't know also. That's why I need to find out. Get the point? Okay. So, makancel ako ang 3. So, n. Are you sure? 336 divided by 14? Oh, suswayin lang yun na. Bigara. Oh, see? 24. So, what is our summary here? Since I give examples and I need to have conclusion and summary out of this calculation, I need to summarize that. Okay? Whenever a ratio is to be inverted, as long as they are always in the right orientation, it will yield the same answer. It's not wrong. Tanawa na po ninyo, oh. Kini nga equation, 3 over 3n man siya. 3 over 3n is equals to 14 over 336. Now, if you are not really, expert or whatever, do you know it? If you are not a seasoned engineer or whatever, you will be afraid to this, that you will invert, right? But since I have an idea, because ratio and proportion, I tried that before also, that's why I'm confident. Okay, when I was in, I need to share the story. When I was in college, we have this topic in the ideal gas known as the Amadeo-Avogadro. And the Amadeo-Avogadro equation, it's number of moles in 1 over V2, meaning the number of moles of an ideal gas at an STP, a standard temperature and pressure, will be directly proportional to the volume. So meaning to say, the volume of a gas will increase with the number of moles will also be increased, or stated in direct proportionality, I will say also that the number of moles of an ideal gas will also increase the volume of an ideal gas. So therefore, directly proportional ang number of moles ng volume. Now, ni-try ko sa college pa, kung kinagtuo magugug, di siya pwede ba? So, moto ako siyang i-memorize ang formula. Okay, take note, this is very marvelous experience. So, ang formula din original sa Amadeo-Avogadro is N1 over V1 is equals to N2 over V2. This is the original equation reflected in the book. Karon nag-experiment man ko. Kaya nasipyat man ko pag-memorize na bali man ako siya. Gata point no, oo. Karon. Pagbali na ko, pareho man ako ng answer. So, napareho man ang answer. I thought it was wrong. Okay. Diyan naman ako, V1 over N1 is equals to V2 over N2. Okay. Now, the same principle here, right? Ako saan siyang ibalik? So, meaning to say, if you reverse, as long as they are in the same positioning, in ratio and proportion, it doesn't matter at all. As long as you keep on putting in the same orientation. For example, numerator, denominator. Bisag ito, tuwali pa na mo siya. Kani siya, second option na siya. Third option, ako na sa ito, tuwali ha. Manarap ko. V1 over V2 in terms na siya sa volume. So, supposedly, lingon ko nga, uy, wrong man ni, kaya mo ang equation sa libro. Muna na siya critical thinking. Because you deviated from the original equation na naa sa libro, nag-create kang imuha, in which the same ra siya answer. This is discovery learning. I discovered it because I noticed it eh. You get the point no? Kaya nabali na ko memorize ba? Nagtuo ko, masipyat na ko. Di ay siya. Basta ratio and proportion, Diyos ko po. Naka-discover ko something. Okay, so V1 over V2. Gilain na po na ko. In terms of volume na po na kong fraction. Muna sa ko. In 1 over into. Take note. As long as ang 1 nasa numerator, ang in 1 nasa numerator, ang V2 nasa denominator, into denominator. This is option 3. You will get the same answer. That is option 3. Option 4 in your formula. Okay? Ibalitok na po mo. Mana na po ka? V2 over V1 is equals to N2 over N1. Okay? Got the point? No. As long as ang mga final volume of moles nasa sa taas, ang iyang initial sa moles, you will also yield the same answer, which is which, as long as you are maintaining the orientation and the positioning no, of your quantities to quantities. It doesn't matter at all. Based on my experience. I know I showed you, right? Okay? Because we need evidence. Kani-gani akong gibali, anong napareho man ang N. So this is also crucial part. Because this is debating already the normal mathematics, right? This one. Are you sure that this can be done in reverse? No mathematics tell you that this has to be reversed. You get the point? Only Junjun, only Sotero. Kani siya? 3 over 3n is equals to 14 over 36. I will say I will reverse to compute for n. Only me telling this one because I know it already by concept. That in ratio and proportion, you need, even though you reverse, it's okay. So supposedly in natural mathematics, this is not correct. That if you need to reverse that, ratio and proportion man ta. Get the point? So it will yield the same answer. So ayaw mo kahadlok atong gituwan. Diba? So there's fun in mathematics actually. You got the point? Diba? So interesting, no? When you reverse it, it will the same answer will be produced. That is 24, in which the same answer put niya 24. 3 times 8, 24 man siya. So, 3 methods on how to solve this problem. Now, in the board examination, if there is a partitive, alam na this, perfect. Ganon! Ganon dapat. Ay, nako po. Things like that, no? Kasi the ratio, the 3 is to 4 is to 7. It's like, pila pa naka-ratio? About 1 million. Okay? Okay, so all you have to do is to follow the pattern, no? Choose which is which you are most convenient to weld, no? Okay, na lang siya. Okay. May fourth method, gina ay katong direct chubas, no? Dili na ka mag-ingon ni ani. Okay, get the point? So, kung hutdan kang time, kani mong gamiton. If your time will be consumed, i-ratio lang nimo si katong given na 1 of it and then the total and then multiply, bigat. Kasi, check. Ganun lang. No calculation anymore. Ikuha rin mo ang factor. Pero kung di mo ganahan i-show. Di ba na yung mga alternatives? Di ba? So it will be more, it will be more healthy that you have these alternatives, no? Okay. Pait sa ganun kung sa raka method atong gamiton. Minimum raka ayo. Okay, things like that. So practice yes, you will start this in high school. You need to discover techniques and you're gonna compile it. No? For example, if there is one solution that can be solved in that way, you need to research other method on how to do that also. At least 2 or 3 like that, no? Ako mo as student pa ko di ko mo focus sa lang ka method. No? At least na siya yung mga alternative mo. Na mag-method mo feel tong usa kay malibog bitaw ka. So ganito gamiton big himog dali ra man siya usa. Ganun. Okay, common sense. You get the point? Okay. Munang mag-isod ka no. Kay di ka makasabot sa game ni teacher. So to panada na sila yung method nga wala na to nasakti. Nag-gets ninyo? Get the point? Okay, i-introduce ni teacher usa ra sa ka method. Diba? Pero actually, there are a lot of topics in mathematics that there are a specified and traditional, another methods. Ako kasi i-explain ninyo, this is through discovery lang mga dili siya katong naasa mga libro nga daghang method ba. Method siya nga na imong na-adapt ba nga murag not necessarily common to all. Get the point? No? what I mean. Meaning there's a uniqueness ba? No? That this method is not, others don't know. Muna akong pasabot. Get the point, no? Or others may know also, but not all will know. Okay? Things like that. So, mas nindot siya nga knowledge. Ikumpara sa usara ka style. No? Just like in singing, no? The more you have so many styles in singing, the more you are world class in effect. You get the point? Because you can have so many styles. Okay? So, mo lagi ako ng mathematics. The more styles, the more methods, no? Okay, get that point. It depends how effective, no? Kung imong styling ni ato, nasigil ka daog sa singing contest, so that means effective to siya nga style when you sing. Diba? The same as also telling that if your method use is always like that and you always get the correct answer most of the times, then that kind of method in math is also effective. Analogy ba? Analogy, analogous explanation. Get the point? Okay? Things like that. Di ba interesting partitive? You got the point? Things like kaya ato mong teacher sa mathematics before, ang kanina magong ka ng multiply of something. Dito naman ko sa college mong biga-biga good. Ang gitulong ko sa elementary katong yung pinaproper, no? Manabro ta. 2 over 3 is equals to x over 4. Cross multiplication. 2 times 4, 8. Or 3x. Ana rin ba, no? Huwag yung tatong multiply to a something. Makansa si biga-biga diri, whatever. Dito naman ko sa college, good. Kaya sa college, more mag-good sa mga cancel, whatever, no? Kita po ito. Pero sa hindi ko ganahan ng cancel kasi mabitik bito ako sa inyong something. Okay. For the purpose of explanation na sa ni. But sometimes, mo gamit yung cross multiplication. You get the point, no? Okay? But if I found out, okay man, ibiga-biga, ibiga-biga ko na ako siya. Get the point, no? Akong i-multiply of something ba? No? Para makuha ba ron siya, whatever, di ba? Kasi di ba 1 divided by 2 over x. Kana. Di ba? Kana siya, ang sa elementary, anaon mo sa elementary ay 1 over 1. I-reverse nyo mong 2 over x. And x over 2. Ano diyan sa grade school level. X times 1 is x. 2 times 1 is 2x over 2. Yang sa college, ang saan ni mo ron? Pinadirect. Multiply this to x over 2. So, x times 1 is x. 2 times 2, okay, is 1. 1 over x. Balili mo, may mo siyang 2x. Diba? Or you can say also, times x over 2 and times x over 2. Makancel diri sa denominator. Chung, biga. X times 1, x over 2. The same ra? Diba? So, ano nag-multiply mga kasosyotero? Because division magod ni. The point, no? Kung mag-start po multiplication, balang ko ha. 2x plus, let's say, 3. So, mag-multiply po sa akong i-cancel biga-biga, no? Para makancel po siya. Times 1. Okay, usa man siya akong ikuan, di ba? Okay, nag-multiply man ko sa division, yung multiplication man ni. So, mag-divide po ka. I-divide mo og 2. No? So, cancel. Turn. 3x. Okay, multiplication man tong original, no? So, kung nag-multiply ka, mag-divide ka. If you try to have division, mag-multiply ka. But kung imo dyan po na siyang i-follow, okay? To the extent, pwede sa na yung mga fraction biga-biga. Ito point no, oo. Ika fraction biga-biga man ito. X over 2. X over 2. This is fraction. That involves variable. Akong i-multiply ang fraction. Okay? Things like that. So, ang pag-multiply mo, it doesn't matter anymore whether whole number or fraction as long as nag-multiply jud ka. Kasi yung original equation is division. Okay? Things like that, no? Then if you are starting with multiplication, expression, and equation, then you need to divide something. Mao jud siya standard. You get the point, no? Okay? Things that, but kung gusto mo atong pina-elementary, mao jud siya problema, no? Pero madugay mo sa elementary, no? Usahay, no? You get the point? You get the point. Kung naman na nga. 1 over 2 plus 3 over 4. Elementary. Get GCF ba ya, Jud? No? Na. 8. 8 divided by 2, 4 times 1, 4. Plus 8 divided by 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 6 is 10 over 8. Yeah, pwede naman butterfly method. 1 times 4 is 4. Plus 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Then 10 over 8. So, mas dali pang butterfly method. Sa GCF. Okay, ang issue magod aning kanisya sa elementary math manggod. We need to keep on finding the GCF, and sometimes we keep on thinking factors, no? Every time. So it will take us a longer time. Whereas kung kanisang butterfly, imo mong i-cross multiply ni i-multiply din mo ang ginamito. Ni daog na mag-GCF pa din ko. So po. Wala na, daog na dayon. Alam mo po magpagiti-giti pa ta. Ikata point math gani di na tang pagiti-giti. We go directly to the straight answer. May show your solution. Okay? As whatever type of solution or method you use, as long as we get the correct answer, mauna siya ang math. No? Unless siguro, sa normal nga yun siya nga klase na, ang teacher, they will try to see to it that your solution is correct. Because if you get the correct answer, you will say, hey, it's magic. How can you arrive in this way? Ma-question mapunta. But sa examination man good, labi na mga computer exam, there's no such solution, no? So as long as you get the correct answer, that's fine. Whatever methods you use, okay? You get that point? But ang ako lang diyang philosophy, you cannot get the correct answer if you are not using the correct solution also. Right? Because you don't know kasi why you predict, di ba? So it could have been that your solution is valid. But you are just using another method in which the teachers don't taught the class. You discovered by your own. You get the point? Napoy mga ingon yan ang datingan, okay? But rare na siya noon. You get the point, no? Pero I could say that is the most effective learning. Sorry to say this, na you can create your own. Because this is creativity. You get the point? Part siya sa sa learning skills, no? Creativity, critical thinking, okay, communication and collaboration, the 4 C's in 21st century skills. So muna indot ang creativity o ang critical thinking. Dili na siya ka ng mga sige tag sunod-sunod ba sa unsay pangbuhat ni teacher, no? Pero basta po hindi na ito gamiton. Akong gimin, mas special or mas nindot na naatay kaguling yung mga discovery. Kung wala ay po niyo pugsa, Diyos ko po, gani. Pugsun pa siya dato. Hindi ta point, no? Namag-excite ko na tungkol sa yung pagkakuan. So ito siya makakuan siya kayo. Kaya ako mong discover kay ko kuan explorer yung ta point, no? Maka-discover siya kung something ko. Hala, on naman siya siya, no? Yeah, masikog, I will communicate on my mind. When I saw problem, hala, pwede naman na yung on. Ano, idugay-dugay pa man ni teacher. Ano ba? Kundi ko musulti sa akong makawin. Sa ako lang mind ba? Ito ko, hala, ako lang i-direct in. Paliho naman i-meaning anin niya. Ano ba? Okay? Oo, things like that. Okay, get the point. Diya sa chemistry, ay daghan kita ma-discover sa chemistry. No? In which di siya traditional way. Get the point? Oo. Diba? Okay, get the point? Oo. For example, mag-chemistry na po kasi math ba yata? Okay, now for example, okay, if I have, let's say, cellular respiration biochemical reaction. Okay, what's the chemical reaction for that? Okay, that's gonna be okay, glucose or the nutrient C6H12. I cannot resist kasi because I'm a chemical engineer. I cannot resist on this showing chemical reactions, no? And my favorite subject kasi is chemical reaction engineering, or chemical kinetics. I'm fan of chemical changes, chemical reactions. I'm not too much loving with unit operation. Sorry for that. To those chemical engineering who devoted unit operations, I'm opposite kasi. But I know how also to understand it, no? Okay, but more ko sa kaning mga ngani, chemical reaction, chemical changes, radiation, it's my favorite talaga, radioactivity calculations. And also, heat transfer. Kaning tulo, heat transfer, radioactivity or radiation, and then chemical reaction engineering, no? Or chemical kinetics. My favorite subjects in my major. Okay? Kung napoy ganahan sa unit, kanina yung heat transfer. Okay, ganahan kayo mga thermal thing, no? energy, no? Which is akong favorite ng mga may mga hit biga-biga. Oh, mabalik-balik pa ng hit. Wow, I love it. O, di ba? Okay, sisi. Okay, o ba nagbiga na ito sa distillation, sa extraction, flotation, Diyos ko po, yung covered exam, di man naghaningana. Kung di siya naghaningana, kaya atong pinuko na kong utok. Permitting mag-flotation. Permitting tanan bang mga processes mag-crystallization, Diyos ko po. Tanan bang processes mag-liquid exam? No, it's not. That's only through specialization. It depends on the industry who possess that kind of process that they're gonna produce that kind of product. But in normal circumstance, it's not every second, every minute, every hour, every day to do that. But take a look in heat transfer. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, it's happening in our planet Earth. You get the point? There's a heat exchange, no? In sunlight, no? To maintain the heat capacity of sunlight it can produce in the planet Earth. Okay? The moment it will yield the radiation, the UV, you get the point? Things like that. And then we, the human being, understand that there's a radiation. So this is very important, no? And the moment we cook the food, there is heat transfer. We know that there is heat. There's an application of heat changes in every day when we cook, when we make coffee. Heat transfer will always be there. And supposedly, it must be of greater percentage of our learning as a chemical engineer. Ang kaning mga chemical reactions, kaning mga heat, okay, ang kaning mga radiation. I love radiation. Thank you, Stefan Boltzmann Constant. You made me a registered chemical engineer. Because it came out in the board examination, Stefan Boltzmann law of radiation. I love kasi mga computations sa radiation, ionizing radiation, and the black body radiation in the universe. Wow. Ito may mga emissivity constant. Okay? Sa universe. Nagtuon sa kong universe. Good. Okay? Ako nag-limit sa planet Earth. Wow. Okay? Things like that. Okay. So, glucose or nutrient. Okay. C6H12O6 plus oxygen gas will yield carbon dioxide plus water. Okay. Now, since this is 6, biga-biga 6, biga-biga 6. Okay. Now, I reversed the photosynthesis. When I was in high school, I found out why I put this photosynthesis. My gosh. So there is what we know as Deville, right? 666. And the moment I will say 666, it will be reflected to the photosynthesis. That there is always 6, there. What? 6 moles of oxygen, 6 moles of carbon dioxide, 6 moles of water, 6. The moment there's photosynthesis chemical reaction in the example, of course, hindi ako mag-balance. Diyos ko po. Nasunod naman sa akong utok, na 6. I don't need to balance anymore. Di ba na yung advantage? If your memory, parang ano ba, no? Gutang na siya, transfer to say, na siya edge. Dili siya yung sa pang-bright siya, pero na yung edge ba? Yung gatap edge, E-D-G-E. Kung na angat ka ba in that particular scenario, yung gatap ko ito. Di ba, nag-balance na ako, wala din so. O, di ba? Sa kamangitan na. Dili siya garaon. Okay, nitugan na ko sa tinuod nga kung mukuan ka sa atong surrounding, naghan ka source of learning, gatap ko ito, pwede ra ka di mugo sa iyang process kay napilit na si mong utok, imo siyang timan-an. Oh, siya na itampo. Kaya 666 na. 666. Ano? Walat ako lugay kung man. O, diba? So, muna siya cellular respiration. Diba? Things like that. So, balance na yun niya siya. I don't have to repeat the explanation now. Before getting 6 here, diba, mag-balance-balance sa kabiga-biga. The point, no? Diba? O, karon kay. Sa una, when I was in high school, I'm really confused with the chemistry teacher is always using trial and error method. Okay, in balancing the equation. I said to myself, why always trial and error method? Because after you try, you will be in error. Because this is the caption, this is the title. The title itself is negation, no? To what is you are expecting to get the correct answer. See, trial and error. So meaning to say, there's a tendency that I will be in error. So I question that caption back. Now, I need to find another method that it's not going to be in error. So dapat kasi, trial and accuracy is the best for this. No? Okay, it's a positive thing that we do several tries or trials, it will direct you to have an accurate result. Rather than here in this caption, you undergo or you underwent several trials or tries and then you direct yourself into error. So sa title pa lang daan, very ano na siya, very disadvantageous na, no? Sa atong feeling, no? So that, oh my gosh, I don't like this. So that's why I don't need to apply trial and error. So I really, I want to discover something that I need to avoid this. That was in high school. So that is the first time I encountered chemistry in my whole life. You get the point? Oh, I said to myself, oh my gosh, I don't like this trial and error. Then she would say, 6 here, 6 here, 3 here, 3 here. As long as mabalance ang oh my God, this doesn't make sense. Niya ko, nga mo balance man jud tani yang sa attitude di mo sulti. Iyarang giingon, i-balance ra niya para mabalance na gyud siya ba wala na siya mga bikil. Okay? So di man na jud makaingon nga we need to balance the number of atoms in the left so that they will be in the state of dynamic equilibrium so that activation energy will be reached so that chemical reaction will begin. Mo na siya objective ganun mag-balance ta. Get the point? There will be no chemical reaction if there's no activation energy. And this activation energy will just come out if the number of atoms in the left of a chemical reaction will always be equal to the product. Muna siya ang reason nga nung atong i-balance because if we don't balance it, we cannot proceed the chemical reaction. Mao na siya objective. So dapat ang mga estudyante makasabot sa objective before doing the balancing the chemical equation because we are just like like playing, no? We don't know really what's our goal. Kasi ilang balance ba? What's the purpose ng balance eh? Para lang dyan ba-balance? Ganon? So not siya reason. You get the point? Okay? So mo to siya ang complete answer why we need to balance the chemical equation. So ganito, we need to balance the chemical equation so that we can establish the state of dynamic equilibrium. That would mean the number of atoms in the reactant will be equal to the number of atoms in the product so that we can obtain the activation energy in order for our chemical reaction to start or to begin. And I thank you. So that would be the complete purpose and objective why we need to balance the chemical equation. But if you further justify that also in saying so that we can obtain the activation energy because this activation energy is the minimum energy to start the chemical reaction. Walang gapong storyaha. Okay? Things like that. So it's really the activation energy. Okay? To activate the chemical reaction, no, by obvious definition. Is the point? Hindi ko siya so far. Ganun siya. Karon, okay, di mo ko ganang trial and error method. Okay? So niya na rin ko, di ba? Basta mag-balance pa ko oxygen. Oxygen. Mara rin ko, let X, di ba? Let X the number of unknown atoms in the most deficient oxygen. Karon, imo i-calculate ang mga oxygen na magbiga-biga. Okay? Glucose, 6 times 1, 6. In this glucose part. Oxygen here, 2 times 1, 2. So 6 plus 2. There are 8 oxygen atoms, di ba? In the reactant. Ganun. Now, there's a pikas. 2 times 1, 2. Oxygen. 1 times 1, 1. 3 oxygen in the product. So, asa ang deficient? Diri sa product. So, diri ka ulit of X of atoms of oxygen na deficient. Okay, now, karon, duha man ka bok oxygen na sa CO2, nasa sa water. Asa man ka bullet X ana niya? Kita point no. Di ba? So asa man ang deficient, di ba? Ang oxygen kay 1 raman, diri 2. So ari ni ibutang ang X, kilid sa water kay kaning sa kung multiplication pa ni commutative property mo guni siya. Ang hydrogen atoms of oxygen atom will share the same variable X. Okay? Similar to say 2 times X, 1 times X, ganun. Okay? Now, mag-create na rin tag algebraic equation. Dili trial error method ha. Okay, dapat mo na rin ko 6 plus 2 reactant. Yan kani siyang center equal ni siya symbol sign equal. And then ang oxygen with 2 times 1, 2. Yeah, plus. O, na naman tayo x, bigat-bigat. 1 times x. O, x. So therefore, linear equation na ta. No? 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus x. Solve for the value of x. So we need to eliminate the 2. Minus 2. Minus 2. Therefore, x is equals to 6. Therefore, 6 yung ibutang dire. Oh, 6. Di ba mas dinot ang feeling? Nag-algebra ka. Okay? So, 6 ang oxygen here. Okay. Now, mag-balance na punta sa hydrogen. Oh, di ba? Okay. Na-balance na ba ang hydrogen? Okay, kita po. Wala. O, na-balance na siya kay 12 na siya. How about ang carbon? Oh, wala pa siya. 6 ang carbon. Di ang carbon 3 wala. Oh. So, asa ka mo let X sa deficient sa carbon atoms nga nasa carbon dioxide. Deficient man siya kay wa man siya 6, okay? So let X as the unknown. Ito pa di mo unknown atoms of carbon and CO2. Namatay 6 dili. 6 times 1 6. No? Wa may carbon si oxygen is equal to X, no? Kaya nga naman, ang carbon man gud wa man gud siya subscript. So meaning 1 ra siya 1 times X. So therefore 6 is equals to X. So ilis na nimog 6. So 6 carbon, 6 carbon. O, you get the point? Okay. Na-balance na ba ang atong oxygen pag biga-biga? O, you get the point? Oo. Okay? O, di ba? Natay 6 plus 6, 12, 18. Here. 18. O, pila may na, diba? Tanawa, math. O, 18 good na siya. O, diba? 18. Natay 6. So, 6. 6. Okay. Plus X, oxygen gas is equals to 18. So therefore, 2x is equals to 18. So 18 minus 6. 2x is equals to 12. So divide by 2. X is equals to 6. So therefore, there are 6 atoms of oxygen. O, di ba? Wala gyapon 6, 6, 6. Okay. Ako na siyang memorize. Okay? So therefore, we can use algebraic equation to balance the chemical equation. No need trial and error method. And this was I discovered when I was in high school. Okay? Even though you try to consult different videos all over the world, you cannot find this kind of explanation. Because this is my discovery. You get the point? If you have a discovery, this is unique to your own. Notice that in YouTube, if there is like this attack in balancing the chemical equation through linear equation, di po mo makita. Okay? So this is, I say to myself, oh my gosh, I'm a special chemical engineer talaga, kaya ka-discover ko ako. Diba? Mas nindot ang feeling, balagi ko top-notcher, or di ko laudi-laudi, as long as naka-discover ko something sa akong self. You get the point? Oo. O, diba? Okay. Kung saan mo man ang laudi-laudi niya, wata naka-discover ng mga formula nga ato ara jud. You get the point? Oo. Diba? Di ba ko bright og math? Nakakulit mo ako, Because I'm so diligent in exploring every time. Yung dili na ko makompile ang mga previous lessons sa present lesson. Makonect na ko siya ba? I can validate it through theories, through concepts. Hindi man dyan pwede puros na tasong-solve. Okay? This would get pag-validate sa atong mga formula of equations if that is not, meeting the theorem and the principles. Kaya nag-meet mo siya sa theorem. Kaya nga naman, equal man ang atong subsalat. Kung mo, magutang kag-symbol nga equality. Diba? So, na-validate. Kung di pa ma-validate, di ta makapag the same answer sa trial and error method. Nakatong traditional nga gitulo ni chemistry teacher. Diba? Mo ni gitulo jud. Mo bitaw na mo struggle ang mga third year high school kay lisod kay masiglat ang trial and error. Dagan ko kay ng number ko, Diyos ko po, nya makasakop jud ka mo jud yung pares nga wa man takabawaan ang kaysa jud mo equal niya. Ano say mag-equal pero ba pareho. Ang imong i-multiply nga number, lain siya nga number niya. Usahay mapareho atong usa niya. Dili dito mao ang dapat di ay. So knowing the fact, pareho lagi ni siya. O siyempre kay trial and error, daghan ba kay nag-number from 1 to 10, mo try kita bigat-bigat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yung multiply, dugoy kita sa dugoy kay magdaog. Di ka tawag na, hindi po siya magbalance sa laban ng mga fraction, Diyos ko, kanina makasood. Kaning algebraic. Yung follow ko kaani sa math, itong metodo ninyo nga, mag-multiply ka, o ano to siya, undergo kang fraction. O, Mag-multiply na po ka sa kilid-kilid na makancel po siya. Kung ano dyan ang basic math, no? Okay. Mura man sa siya equation ang balancing chemical god. Mura sa siya katong math polynomial kuno haiba. Ang kaning reactant mo sa siya ang mga mathematical expression, niya ang kaning product mo sa siya ang equation sa other side. Ang nakanindot ng kaning chemical equation, it's reality magod siya. Yang kanang math magod polynomial, it's not existent in the planet Earth. Get the point? Akong balikon. Okay. Polynomials or equations in algebra, it's not existing in the planet Earth. Ang atong gibuhat diha na sila tag manipulation sa mga hypothetical, no? Ng mga variables. But it doesn't exist, no? In the planet Earth. The purpose of that is to train us to become quite familiar to solve problems in the future, no? To become problem solvers and critical thinkers in the future when we are trying to work now, no? To solve problems. More you get-train diha ng mga hypothetical. Kita point okay, wa man na access reality. Kita point mo gi-train ra ta niya pramugana atong utok ba, no? And then we can find solutions later on, finding solutions to the problem. Mao siya ang mga purpose sa problem solving. Asa mo utang sa tanang libro. Finding solution to the problem. Okay? Needs critical thinking. Kita point alangan man po. Di ba? Okay, the point, no? Okay, ma-evaluate man mo kung na critical thinking. Diyos ko po. Okay? Things like that. You get the point? Oh, ingana na siya. Hypothetical thinking ng mga algebra. X squared, 2x squared. Di ba? So, mo hindi siya ma-apply sa real world. Ma-apply ang real world. Ganun ko mag-add-add ka. Kung divide na puros number. No? Kan atong kwartas, wildo. Compute. Nani na yung x variable. Diyos ko po. X squared, 2x squared, di ba? Wala. Okay. Alam mo kung makita patag ano, naklaro naman itong sweldo. Kita point mo, let x pa yun ka. Pero makuha na itong overtime, na may daan na nga factor, 1.5 ang OT, Diyos ko po. Ipura mo na i-multiply, whatever, mag-x pa kung tadili. Kita point mo, oo. Ilis-lisuro lang dyan ito kagaliman, makita tag factor. Para lang dyan makompute na ito, pili factor, ay sa overtime, halidi na baro, Diyos ko po. O mag-algebra ka na, kung di mo naman okay, hatag naman tanan. So, imo na ng mathematical operation, division, subtraction, multiplication, o real world, no? Ang real world, basic mathematical operations, no? Okay, wala na lang bigat-bigat ka naman, differential, bigat-bigat naman, something. Ang geometry na, ka ng mga tangke, sa mga capacity, no? Pwede, kanang geometry, reality, mga geometry, kanang sa mga tanks, dito po ito, mga gallons, kanang iyang mga container, iyang mga sheet, i-compute ni mo capacity mo, mo dyan yung ibutang. Mo dyan i-compute ang iyang mga requirements in dimensions, whatever. Alam mo, di pa lang masod ang liquid, yung capacity, something, ng buwan. I-calculate, dito po. Mura na siya ma-apply ka ng geometry. Kaya di naman na mag-let-x pag-ayaw ka ng geometry. Straightforward ba niyang mga formula sa volume. Di ba? O mga area, biga-biga, whatever. O, di ba? Kana siya ang geometry o kanang mga real world kanang mathematical operations, no? Unless depende sa imong trabaho, kung imong trabaho research and development, no? Na yung mga math diha nga magkuhan kag mga population, pili makuha na mga gamit-gamit kag mga mga rate, mga something or mga variation, katong mga standard deviation, variance, mga anak. Para survey firm meron ka ng trabaho, survey firm sa mga populations o mag-survey, magamit ang probability and statistics. No? Pero kung trabaho ratag ka ng normal, no, hindi na magamit ang mga x plus 2, 2x minus 1, ba? Tingnan ko sa'yo, mag-long division pa rin mo karon. Diyos ko po. Biga na po kayo kung mag-long division pa mo. Mag-division ka po, first number. Atong sweldo, divide that to how many hours. O yan, ay x, y, x, okay, wak man. Oo. Diba? Oo. So, di ta mag-focus kaning mga, basta yung importante lang, nakabawal ka sa basics. Dito point, oo. Margin na. Dito point, oo. Okay? Things like that. Oh, uy, wa ako ni saba aning linya. Guys, sorry. Wa ako ni saba ako sa mga classmate, even sa college gani wa jud ko ni share ani guys do kay ano mangod guys. Kanang wa man sa sila nang utang na. Ila sa kay mo ingon ra ko, uy mo ni atong titik nga gamiton kay na discover ng borot class kay paminan akong gi-incriminate akong self, no? Nagdayday ko sa akong para daygon ko di man ko need og appreciation. Get the point? Because I don't need compliment, I don't need recognition, I don't need appreciation because starting from elementary, I'm always recognized during commencement exercise, no, as an honor student. Mo reflect man gud na siya. For example, if you are not receiving this kind of hours when you are still elementary, high school, and college, you keep on craving that kung manabaho na ka sa industry because these are the things that you don't accept, you don't feel. So muna ikatrabaho ni mo, pero may ka magpa-appreciate. Tagalihok ni mo na compliment. Every time you do in your department, there must be a compliment. Okay? There must be an appreciation that you are good, that you are brilliant, that your department is because of you, the department is very good. Because these things, appreciation and compliments, you don't receive this when you are a child. So that's why you are deprived from these accomplishments. You get the point? So, lahi ang journey if you are a student that you receive already so many recognitions in the past. Di ka mahangol when you are working. You don't need appreciation anymore. You get the point? Okay? So these are only to the people who are not experienced with accomplishment, awards, medals, plaques, or any honors during their study from elementary, high school, and college. That's why when they work now in the reality, work now, they keep on asking and expecting appreciation, recognition, and awards because they don't really feel this when they are still studying. Nag-gets ninyo? But kung ikaw anad na ka aning mga appreciation, no? Or whatever, gidayeg na ka ba sa environment, sa inyong mga neighborhood or whatever, dili na makamangitag appreciation. Gipulaan na ka sa appreciation, to be honest. No. Okay? Pero ikaw nga type na estudyante, wadyo ka kadawat ni ini, tagalihok nimo na adyo equivalent. First, mga increment, mag-expect yung mga increment every time, whatever, tungkol sa imong service. So, pwede naman i-treat na nimo nga normal, may trabaho naman ka. Kita point nung, so ayaw mag-expect ng increment, kung ihatag, kung hindi. Kita point, no? Ana. Okay. The same as telling na magpa-recognize yung ka, karang ayaw pag-increment. Ayaw, let them recognize it. Kung wala. Kita point, no? Mamukos ba dahil ka? Sa'yo po di siya sa mentality sa mga Pilipino. We keep on working, so it depends on our God na manotice ni siya. Kaya lisod kayo, kita mo sultis itong kagalingon nga magpa-increment ka, Diyos ko po. Even though how good you are, even though how hardworking you are, even though you contribute for the progress of that paper, never ask for an increment, Diyos ko po. This is not a good character. Sorry to say this. You get the point? Oo. Sorry to say this because if you work sincerely, you don't need anything. You're just working according to your best ability and knowledge as an employee. That's all. Okay? If there is appreciation, that will be bonus, no? Plus factor. But you should not always expect for that. Diba? Nakakaloka yung ganon? So, bawat gawa mayroong ganon. Kakaloka, Diyos ko po. So, ayaw mo pag-expect, anak, kaya masakitan lang mo. Okay? Manong masakitan mo, kaya mag-expect manggod mo. Ayaw mo pag-expect of mga appreciation, mga recognition, or whatever. Just simple as it is, no? Okay? No? Live simply, no? Be peace. So, peaceful lang yun siya. Dito mag-expect na mga increment, whatever. Kung di ihatag, mag-gulguol ba yun? Diyos ko po lang, ko. Okay, kita point no. Sama sa nga, need you kayo i-appreciate. Okay, kita point no. Sa tupa, di ka mo trabaho pag-ayo, di ka i-appreciate. Na, sa tupa, dependent, conditional, di ka mo performance. No? Di ka mo, you'll never work hard if there's no compliment or appreciation. So, okay? Things like that, no? Because so it depends man good. If kung wala. If there is appreciation, well, it's fine, it's good. But if nothing, it will be also okay. Ganon. Diyos ko po. I-explain pa ba na? Diyos ko po. Ito point, diba? Mo na magpabidag-bidag ang uban. Kanang pabidag-bidag. Siguro pagkatong pag elementary, high school, what ka president, no? during sa mga election ba, di jud siya maka-leader. Yang murag ahaw kay siya ani ba no? Ahaw. You know ahaw in English? Crave, no? Crave or let us say you are kanang deprived ka ani nga mga butang kay napay mas bright nimo. There is more intelligent than you. There is more active than you. So it will be a sort of that you always a member in every election or in a set of officers. Yung muna panabaho nimo gusto sa ka ma-president baron or kanang ma-appreciate you ka kay wa man nimo na feel when you are still in your journeys imong educational from elementary to college. Kung imo jud na tanawa ha. From elementary to college, how many years? Di ba 16 years? Are you sure you will reach 16 years in working? Mas taas og journey ang imong educational elementary to college. Get a point no? Oo. Okay? Kung nila nga abot og 20 ka tuig, well, it's their choice. Get a point? Oo. Because sa pangangailangan. But di good na siya optimal on ideal total years ang 20 years, to be honest with you. That's too much. Okay? Get a point? Oo. Ideal mga ano lang, mga 10 years or ano, kung abot na ng mga 20, so it looks like ano ba, tuhod na siya sa mga pangangailangan. Get a point? Oo. Okay? Get the point? Oh, okay. After 10 years or 12 years, dapat na nakay-business. No, you get the point. No, oo. Ika na, abot mong 20 years, tungod na sa mga priorities. No, na-need yun na itong i-accomplish. Of course, no? Okay. Niingon ra ko, ana ba nga, di yun siya ideal nga. Palabi ay dugay. Get the point. Kung nadugay magaling, tungod sa mga priorities, no? Na-need na itong i-fulfill. Get the point? Oo. Ganun siya. Get the point? Oo. Okay, things like that. Oo. Munang mugamot na lang jud. Okay, get the point? Oo. Okay. Mas nindot jud ang ako guys, di man ko mahilig og negosyo, guys. Get the point? Oo. Okay, di jud ko hilig og negosyo. Balag pobre ko hatod sa kamatayon, no? Oo. Makadawat mapug ko. No, lahi man ko. Pero in terms of intelligence, di ko magpapiri. Okay, pero kana mga wealth to wealth, no, mga kamtangan-kamtangan, dato-dato. Okay ra po, ingnon ko yung pobre, wa koy mga butang. Okay, para na ako di ko ma-proud kung kana siyang status, no. Mas ma-proud ko ang kung utok ba. No, lahi po ko, no. Mas mo-appreciate ko kung utukan kaysa dato lang. Sorry to say this. Na atong bitaw kana mo daig bitaw tanga ay daghanag sakyanan second floor third floor daghan ko di kay ko ana guys di ko mo ma-appreciate ana amot lang so usa pa niya kadato lahi ang akong criterion mas mo believe ko mas ma-appreciate ko kung putukan okay ako man sa nila lain gusto mas feeling proud ko ana kaysa kanang wealth lang bitaw ida point okay. Okay. Yung anak masagod. Lahi-lahi mo ang tao, no? Okay. Na-gets ninyo? Kikita point, oo. Bahalag ingnon ko, pobre, whatever, niya, pila na katuloy na nga, burod, ang balay, di nga po nindot, no? Sakto naman po namang balay, kikita point, no? Ako gimin ba? Nga, dili ko mo appreciate according sa mga wealth, property, nga mo dahil ko, nakita daghan kay mga kuan baron ng mga tantangan or whatever, rest house or anything, business, no? Di kay ko maka-appreciate anak. Kaya kana mo ang criteria mo na niya kuan lang, no? Mga property, no? Pero mga kantangan ba, mga butang, sakyanan, negosyo, di kay ko maka-appreciate ana. Pero kung the moment maka-receive, makakuan ko na grabe na siya. O kuan lahi ang feeling kita point no. Okay, things like di ba? Depende sa tao kung uban mo muna ilibase no kanang abigay dato na kayo, mobili na din sila sa tao, no? Okay, lahi. Amot lang ang akong measurement dili man kana kita point no. For example, kung daghan na kay kag napa-eskwela baron no nga professional baron sila, no? Nya palitan imo na tabangan o 5 ka buok niya imong gipa-eskwela no? So para na ako mas mo ma-appreciate ko ana kaysa kanang mga wealth to wealth muna akong usa sa na siya akong ganahan. Kita point no na mura bitaw di lang sa mga ano ba mga material nito nga thing ma-measure ang success pati pud sa mga imong ana. Okay, kita point nga reflection ba no? Mas mo appreciate ko ana. Okay, kaysa kanang tanawon lang ang status kanang na yung mga sakyanan na yung mga balay sorry to say this ha wa sa na mabot pasabot nga wa ko sa kanang ambot pa di ko alam ko sa ako ang real definition ba sa ako pagka ako oo abi di ko an ko wala lang ko kuan ang buta ko pasabot ba mas nindot jud ang feeling kung mao na atong barometer no na daghang kay kaga pa-eskwela or natabangan baron ya tungod nimo nakakuan sila baron no things like that no nya murag ikay ang nahimong instrument pa para makabot nila matinguha ganun oh or na successful baron ang inyong mga community tungod nimo ang imong legacy ba nindot kay murag di bitaw sa selfish no way bitaw point oo sorry to say this kay lahi jud ako mga something I know ikata point mas nindot ang feeling no kaysa more on selfish objective lang sorry sorry to say this okay kita point oo kasagaran mo sa mga tawod ang ilang ginawa nilang kagalingon pero sa ako ang murag sorry ha murag bidot ang feeling kung sa massive bitong imong gikuan gitabangan no oh, I mean ba, murag gidot ka contribution sa imong community ba, no? Imong legasiya. Hindi mo na siyang tungod lang sa mga politiko. Pwede man sad ka mo tabang sa mga sa community bisag ika politician. Ang kuan man gud ang pagtabang there's no level and positioning. Para ako ha. It doesn't mean kung politiko ra ang utabang, no? Anybody can help. Mas nindot ang feeling mo para nako mo na siyang pinaka-successful. Di ba? Things like that. Oo, parang ganun. Maglisod sa, hindi ta point, pero muna ako mga definition, hindi ta point, no? Ganito na yung mga pobre barong kaayo, kaya mong ipa-eskwela. The moment mo sa ipa-eskwela, nakagraduate ka, murag success ka, no? Kumpara ng sakyanan, no? Di ba? Mga hindot kay nga balay, murag material ra magud ni, no? Kita point, lahi jud ang kanang kuan ba, no? Murag empathy or whatever, no? Ay, abot lang kay mo sa ni apo di ba? Abot lang, no? Oo. Okay. Isod sa kaayo, kita point no nga. Kuan, okay. Anyway, depende pa sa siyang tao. Pero kung ako lang siya papiliin, mas tindot mo ang feeling. No? Na before ka mamatay, na may contribution sa iyong community. Straightforward ko, no? Na ma-remember jud ka mga mauni ilang mo na siya ay kuan grabe jud kay na siya no before siya na nga mga story ba no before ka na mamatay mas tindot siya ano ang legasiya or dapat na ba jud kay kasal na ay alangan na sa kita oy hindi ta pwede oo di ba pero makatapos sa bita ginagmay no kung mga remember di jud yung mga dinagko sa pakit depende naman sa atong mga maabot jud di ba okay hindi man na matter sa mga amot-amot ko kinasing-kasing jud siya muna akong gimin okay get the point oo pero ba kung bilyonaryo na pug ka bilyonaryo na jud ka sa daghan na jud ka kwarta so it's about time nga mo share ka sa imong kuhan imong mga wealth imong mga sa mga pobre nga nanginanglan so para nako mo na pinaka-successful nga tao sa tibok kalibutan no ang mo reach out financially sa mga wa jud kung puti na sa jud imong grabiha ka kuan sa ka bless ba no nang umaapaw na jud wa man ta nang umaapaw jud kung ako lang na jud ana Diyos ko po no wa man sa jud ang alam mo ko tong pugso ginagmay ra tong tabang sa sikingon mutabang ta pwede jud dinagko okay kita point di ba okay so kung ako lang jud ang billionaire karon of course no ako lang nagiko ng mga pobre whatever di ba ganun di man ta wa man ta gi-bless ka ng mga bilyon-bilyon ang mga politiko raman. Okay. So mo na diha. Okay, gata point. Oo, di ba? Ganon. Di ba? Okay, things like that. Focusing jud sa pero focusing jud ta ani sa kinabuhi. Char. Gata point. Oo. Di ba? So muna ako mga topic karon no. Nanita na uy si Comfy Werefi. Hello. Kisa man si Comfy Werefi uy. Murag taga Philippines man siya. Char lang. Okay. Taga Philippines yun siya ay. Charot lang. Okay. Uy, mga taga Philippines, kumusta na atong pagbiga-biga karon? Char. Sa tour di ra ba biga ra ba ron?
Uy, mga expression na ginatuwa guys, no? Okay. Mabuang raman mo kung mga expression din eh. Mga grabe na dyan na itong mga expressions. Char.
Okay, kita point. Oo. O, di ba? Uy, any question so far? Uy, mauro ba ni kasagaran manggawang sa board exam, guys? Kanang dagan ka siyang mga resolution ba? Okay, kita point. Okay, itong kung ginagmay lang, kaingon gusto nga, ay, di mo maura ni. Sunod na nila sa itong ilang mga teacher before. Maro ka na ang exam. Ilan ang ilain-lain dito, no? Ibaw mas nga, mo ni pirmi ang ipang tudlo sa classroom instruction. Oh. So, in board exam, i-vary din na nila. Kita point nga ang dili pirmi nga ginatudlo, birahan ka dito. Alam na this. Kita point. Okay, kita point. Oo, okay. Kung dili pa na, dagan ka nakapasar. Kita point. Halos ka na makapasar, di ba? Okay. Anong dagan sa mahagpong biso? That means, imagine nag something. Kita point. No, oo. Ibiga-biga kita mo something ba? Char. O di ba? Kakaloka. Okay, kita point. Oo. Karon gan makombusyon na pud ta og kuan. Caffeine. Ganun kay kog caffeine. Char lang. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Oy, okay, bye-bye na ha. Kay mo